What's up, guys? In this video I'm going to talk about fruitarianism, my experience being a raw foodist and high fruits, and my shortcomings and what happened with that, and what I learned, how I would do it differently now, and where I'm at now in terms of the way I believe I should eat or live or any of that sort of stuff. Now I want to say that I got into this whole thing because of my health. When I was 16, I started having a lot of health problems, and leading up to 18, I was to the point of like suicide pretty much because of how much in pain I was with my health. So I had to make a change. I decided to go vegan, and when I went vegan, I kind of wanted to go raw vegan at the same time. So I went pretty much overnight 100% vegan and dived right into raw veganism, actually, like the first day. And it was very difficult. But for the next 7 years, I was in and out of raw veganism, but I was always 100% vegan. And then when I went to live in the jungle, I tried to be 100% raw vegan, but it was very difficult. But I did manage to become 100% raw vegan for 3 years. And that was no dehydrated food, or almost no dehydrated food. That was no nuts and seeds, not at all. No nuts and seeds at all. Very little fat as well for those 3 years. It would be something maybe like the equivalent of maybe one avocado every month in terms of fat intake. But sometimes I did eat a little bit more fat, like young coconut meat and things like that. But it was very low fat. Maybe there were certain times where it was zero fat at all for many months, and then other months where I was eating some more fat in terms of young coconut meat. But very little avocados, and pretty much just fresh fruits, a little bit of leafy greens. Now during that period, I experienced some really difficult things, which I'm still dealing with. I developed major teeth problems, which I'm still dealing with, but my teeth have gotten better by doing some cleanings and stuff like that and using some different products. But my teeth were really bad. One of my teeth rotted out of my mouth. And I think this was due mainly to just eating too much fruits and not taking care of my teeth and eating too much acidic fruits. But the thing is, a lot of people when they go on a raw food diet or a fruitarian diet, they want to feel the same level of fullness as they felt on a cooked food diet. So they'll eat a lot of fruits, and I think that's really not good, especially for your teeth. When you eat a lot of fruits, I think fruits should be eaten to the point where you don't want to eat them anymore. A lot of people, when they go on a raw food diet, will eat fruits past the point where they don't want to eat them anymore, just to feel more satisfied. Because there's usually that point where you're eating fruits where you just don't want any fruits anymore. You might want a bowl of rice, you might want some potatoes, but you don't want any fruits anymore. That's really the point where you should stop eating fruits. When you really just don't want anymore, when you're like, okay, I don't want any more fruits, you should just stop eating fruits. You shouldn't push yourself to eat more and more fruits to try to get the equivalent calories you would get eating rice. That's going to really cause a lot of problems: bloating, teeth problems, digestive problems, just feeling lethargic and tired because you had too much fruits to handle, too much volume of food as well. So when you're eating a raw food diet of fruits, I believe now you should really just stop once you don't want any fruits. Once your body signals to you, I don't want any more fruits, you should just stop eating those fruits. Now, so I developed all these problems. Also, I developed problems with skin problems, and which I'm still dealing with a little bit now. But these skin problems came during fruitarian, and then they went away while I was fruitarian or raw food, and then they came back really badly when I started eating cooked foods again and starches So basically, I came to the point where I didn't want to continue eating raw foods. I started eating cooked foods. And at first, I never really felt super great eating cooked foods because it just got more and more and more heavy foods to the point where I was here living on street food. I was in the city. I was living on street food. I was living on French fries. It was still vegan, maybe not 100% with some of the sauces. I was putting sauces on the French fries. I was eating a lot of French fries, and I was not feeling good at all. I was feeling really bad. So then I tried to improve it by cooking my own food. I was cooking rice, potatoes, but I still felt really bad. And I got to the point where I would eat a cooked meal of starches, and I would just feel dead, like dead. I felt so bad. My body was like having heat flashes for 2 years, and I was dealing with really bad skin problems. And that's one reason why I haven't really made much videos, because my skin problems was so bad. You can still see some skin issues here, maybe a bit on my face, but I'm saying bad. It was all over, just all over my chest. I could show some pictures maybe, but it was horrible. It was all over my chest, all over my shoulders, back, all over my face, even on my legs. Just these red bumps and grains, and sometimes these big bumps that would go under my skin. So I tried to heal that. I tried to figure it out what it was. Doctors just told me it's just acne. I've never had acne that bad in my life, so I really don't think it was acne, some sort of skin disease. But I eventually started to heal it, and now I'm to the point where it's almost healed. I still have it a little bit, but it's to the point where I almost healed it. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. I even did water fasting for weeks at a time, or 1 week, and then another week after that, and that didn't really heal it at all. So what I had to do to heal it was really purify my diet. And what I started doing was eating zero fats at all. Maybe like a tiny bit of fat if someone made food for me, but it was, whenever I made my own food, it was zero fat. But I still realized I'm still having skin problems. It got a little better, but I'm still having problems. So what I started to do was eliminate starches as well. So I stopped eating a lot of starches. Maybe here and there I would have starches, but I came to the point where I was eating very little starches. I would still eat semi-starches, I would call them, or mucus-lean starches, like plantains, ripe plantains, cooked ripe plantains, squash, sweet potato, things like that, sweet corn. Those starches are all starches, but they're very low in starch compared to things like white rice or potatoes or oatmeal. The starches that I started eating were only things like plantain, sweet potato, squash, and I did that for several weeks, or maybe almost a month, and my skin has started to really clear up. On top of this, for the longest time, but I really started to amp it up over the past few months, I started to do lots of enemas, and lemon enemas as well. And I feel like this has really helped me clean out all the junk that I was eating for the past year, eating a lot of fried foods, fried vegan foods, French fries, sauces, salsas, all that sort of stuff. So I've been doing a lot of enemas, lemon enemas. Fruit during the morning, I try not to eat too much acidic fruits because it hurts my teeth. So I try to eat more like bananas, maybe something like grapes, but even grapes kind of hurt my teeth. Watermelon, and then later in the day I'll have some cooked meal like ripe plantains cooked, or squash, or vegetables. But I've really been staying away from a lot of things like rice. Once in a while I might have it. I'm not 100% strict like I used to be. I think that's one of the downfalls of raw veganism, is that people stick to labels too much instead of how foods actually make them feel. So they would rather eat this raw, gourmet, salty, spicy, dehydrated fatty thing than a nice sweet potato with some veggies, which would probably make them feel much better than this raw gourmet meal. And you have to have a plan. Like, this is the thing, when people get into raw food diet or even veganism, they don't have a plan. And I really don't think veganism is healthy in and of itself. I think it's only healthy if you eat it in a healthy way. For me, I need to have a plan of where to go. So if I feel like these foods are too heavy, I know where to go to make myself feel better. And if I feel like I'm getting too weak and skinny and I'm feeling really lethargic and like it's not enough food, like I'm not feeling full, I'm not feeling satiated, I'm feeling really hungry, I know how to go down without going all the way down to just like vegan junk food or even animal products. So I think you have to have like this ladder that you know how to go up, and you know how to go down, you know how to go up, you know how to go down, to the point where you're not going to really ever feel really horrible. So you're not going to feel horrible from eating too heavy of foods, and you're not going to feel horrible from eating too light of foods. And assisting your body with enemas and things like this to help you get rid of junk, I think is extremely important as well. And to avoid eating too much fruits, especially acidic fruits. Avoid eating like shit ton of fruits, but I've seen a lot of raw vegans do just eat shit ton of fruits, and a lot of people, when they do this, they don't last. They never last. So if you really want to eat so much food, don't just binge on fruits. Eat some starches. Eat some cooked food. You don't have to hold on to this dogma and make yourself feel even worse. So that's pretty much what's happened to me over the past like 10 years or more. I'm to the point now where I absolutely hate labels. I don't like calling myself vegan, raw vegan, fruitarian, anything like that. I just like, if there's one label I like is the transition, the mucusless diet, transition diet. The mucusless transition diet. Mucusless healing system. Mucusless diet healing system by Arnold Dare. The transition diet. So the transition diet, it's all about you have the tools to transition to lighter and lighter foods and more cleansing, and you have the tools to transition back down. So it's this constant transition of up, down, depending on how you feel. If you feel too heavy, you go up to lighter foods. If you feel too light and too weak, then you go down to a little bit of heavier foods. But you never do anything too drastic. You don't make these drastic jumps where you go from eating pizza to being a fruitarian. And you don't go from being a fruitarian to eating pizza. There's like all these little steps in between to the point where you're not going to ever feel bad, because that's really when people feel bad, is when they make too big of jumps, either up or down. That's when people feel really bad. And it's not so much about what's the perfect diet. It's not about that. It's just following your body, following what your body wants. Animals in nature, they go into periods of not eating. They go into periods of eating a lot more. It's like a flux and in and out motion of a flow, this sort of thing. This is what people really don't understand. This is what I've learned over the past like 10, 11 years in this raw vegan field. And there's some other things that I could say. I think it's very important to track your fitness as well, because there's no way you can know whether or not you're doing something right if you don't track it. So if you don't track your fitness, you'll never really know how weak you feel. You might say, I feel weak, but in reality, your fitness might be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So don't go based on how you feel, go based on what you can actually track. So I'm going to the gym now and I'm lifting weights, and I'm actually tracking every lift. And I can see with my own eyes if I'm getting stronger or I'm getting weaker. So with that being said, this video is getting pretty long. So I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.